Good afternoon. Welcome to our latest BSIA broadcast. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Tom Ford, the Membership Development Manager at the BSIA, and for the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to be focusing on the value of membership of the association as an installer, and we will be talking about this with some of our leading practitioners of the industry. So after hearing from our panelists, we'll be opening the floor to questions, which you can start sending now for me to line up after the discussion. Should be no more than 20 minutes or so, and you can also open discussions as well during the debate in the chat option to the right, and we'll be releasing a recording of this and a write-up of the broadcast after the event. So I'd first like to introduce our guests who very kindly given up their time to give us their perspective on both the industry they work in and also their thoughts on the need for strong industry representation for the installer market. So before we start, I'd like each guest to introduce themselves and give a brief history of their time in the industry. And I'd like to start with you, Alan.
Hi everybody, my name's Alan Quillin. I am the Managing Director for Border Safeguard. I first entered the industry back in 1996, 24 years ago, when I undertook a modern apprenticeship. And in that time, between then and where I find myself now, I've undertaken several roles within the industry. I've been Vice Chairman, Technical Rep for the NSI in Scotland with the NSI. I've been also Regional Chairman for the NSI. I've worked with SQA, Skills Development Scotland, on several tasks with regards to the development of training standards and the likes. And here I am now, all these years later, like I say, as MD and the Regional Chairman for the BSIA here in Scotland.
Thanks very much, appreciate that, Alan. And Mike, over to you.
Thanks, Tom. Hi everyone, I'm Mike Reddington. I'm the Chief Executive of the BSAA. I've been involved in the security industry for over 25 years. I've held executive positions both at SME and corporate level. And for 15 years of my career, I held director roles within Honeywell and ADI, both at a UK and a European level. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you very much. And last but very much not least, over to you, Simon.
Hi, everybody. I'm Simon Banks, and I'm the Group MD of CSL. CSL are a BSIA member company. I'm also chairman of the BSIA, have been for the last 2 years. And I started at a little company called Scantronic in 1988. So that's over 30 years in the sector for me. Back over to you, Tom.
Thank you, Simon, much appreciated. Okay, thanks very much for the introductions then. We can proceed now to the first of our discussion points, starting with the industry perspective on some of the changes our panelists have seen in the last 20 years. Having all worked in some capacity in the electronics market, it's worth getting some background into why our panelists found themselves joining an association. So I'll turn to Alan first and ask for your perspective on why your family company, Border Safeguard, joined BSIA over 20 years ago.
Yeah, the reason was a simple one. Back in 1995, you know, as a company, you were looking for guidance and assistance, but more importantly, you were looking for a unified voice within the industry, somebody that could, you know, go away and ask some questions, get some clarification on various matters of a technical nature. Fundamentally, back in the day, that's what it was. You know, there was so many changes back then with standards, and really, you were better being in the loop than out with, to be fair. And it offered some real value, and it was vitally important to us as a business going forward that we were able to, you know, buy into that and be part of that, so to speak. As well as the big thing was the opportunity to get involved ourselves, to attend regional meetings, forums, and listen to stories of good share, you know, good practice that was being shared, by other companies, and that was vital to our development as such. So that was the reason fundamentally for us to join, Tom. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thanks very much. So then, Mike, with your background with the companies you've represented, what do you think have been the most significant changes in the last 20 years? And how has being a member of the association helped the industry?
Okay, Tom, well, I think over the last 20 years, we've seen a rapid development in technology in multiple areas in the security sector. You know, we've seen the reliability and adoption of wireless systems implemented. We've seen CCTV functionality and image quality. We've actually seen confirmed alarms introduced into the industry to reduce false alarms, which had major success in doing so. We've seen the implementation and adoption of remote diagnostics, and we've also seen the usage of apps. And it is fair to say the industry has had to work hard to actually understand and embrace these new technologies. And the BSIA, through its members, have developed codes of practice and standards that allow these technologies both to be used and ensure they are fit for purpose.
That's really, really interesting. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Mike. So in terms of being a business owner then, I'd like to bring Simon in here to find out what the decisions were that made your company in the early years of trading decide to join the BSIA.
Well, I think we're a very standards-driven market, so we believe in the standards as well. We think the standards keep the cowboys out. We think it keeps the professional practice high. I mean, we've been BSIA members for 20 of our 24 years that we've been in existence. And the other thing about a trade association at the moment, you know, there's great strength in unity, which I'll go into on one of the other questions. But the BSIA are not just a standards maker. You know, they are there to educate and promote professional practice. So, I mean, much of the standards we have today, from police response URNs to insurance liaison, have been brought to the table by the BSIA over the last 53 years.
I really appreciate that input. Thanks, Simon. So I'm going to move on to talking about challenges and how an association can be supportive. So I'll move to Mike, who is both a member of the electronics industry and now Chief Executive of the BSAA. I'd like to ask you what you think the current challenges are, and then how does membership of the association as an installer benefit them in the immediate and the long-term future?
Okay, thanks, Tom. As I said earlier, I think we're going to continue to see the significant development in technology, and we're already seeing an increase in adoption of IoT devices being used in security systems. We're seeing increased risks around cybersecurity and the ability to be able to deal with that in our industry sector. There's also the acceptance and usage of live facial recognition, automatic facial recognition, and artificial intelligence. And being a member of the BSAA ensures you are kept up to date on these technologies. It provides you with input into developing codes of practice and standards that allow the usage of these technologies, and also share examples of best practice. I think Alan touched on it earlier, is that being part of the BSIA is recognised as the voice of the professional security industry, and by being a member enables you to have input into that voice, which represents you in this industry sector.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you for that, Mike. So, Alan, what do you think the challenges are from your perspective then? So what does an SME in the current climate, and indeed the future, who works in security systems need from a strong association? So why would they be thinking they need to be part of shaping the future through an association like the BSIA?
To be honest, in the predicament that we find ourselves in at the moment with COVID-19, you know, where we find ourselves at this moment in time and where we'll go forward imminently, you know, getting the wheels back up and oiled and get running again. The BSIA will play a big part in that for the members, without doubt. Things have evolved, you know, so far in the, you know, the last, you know, just, you know, things change that fast these days. And it's hard to keep track, hence why you need somebody like the BSIA, the Trade Association, coming out to work and advise you. But the BSIA, as Mike touched on, yes, technical standards and those items, but the BSIA offers so much more these days than it once did. They have so many business partners. They've added to the portfolio services that can be provided. You're looking at employment law partners, you're looking at health and safety partners. These people that are now experts, yes, in their own field, but they already have a great understanding of what we as an industry need. So rather than a company going out to ask somebody for some advice and whatnot, and having to start telling their story and what they do for their customers, that work's already been done. The groundwork's been done, and it cuts down so many barriers, frees up so much time. And that's what you get from the BSI, that strong voice, the vocal voice for its membership. Without doing that, life would be so much harder for us all. So it goes, without saying that the BSI will play such a big part for everybody in the coming weeks, months, and year, possibly after this.
Superb. Thank you for that, Alan. Much appreciated. So, turning to Simon then, as chairman of the BSIA, would you say that being part of a strong trade association has never been more important, considering the rapid changes in technology, legislation, and growing competition from IoT markets? So my question to you is, how does membership play its role in this?
Well, I think that to be part of the BSIA in normal times is good, but in challenging times, I think it's ever important. I mean, there are many close verticals that want into our sector because we have great recurring income streams. We provide security of income on rainy days or sunny lockdowns as we're in. So I think this period has shown us that the resilience of the security industry in financial terms, I wouldn't say it's recession proof, but it certainly is recession resistant. And I also think that IoT, or Internet of Things technology, whatever it might be, whether it's ring.com or any app that you may have on your phone, it really shouldn't displace what we do. It should be complementary. Apps on mobile devices, for example, of sort of common tech interfaces. The way that it interfaces with our sector's tech is hugely important. So I think the current pandemic will create a new world where things will never be the same, but out of the despair and the challenges will come opportunity. So it's very important for our industry to unite. And I think a trade association unites. I think it builds bridges. It allows people to talk. It allows people to talk common practice, for one thing, to share ideas within their business. I don't like sort of aggressive incoming sectors dumbing down offerings where we've got a very good track record of standards-based technology and practices, and they're time-honored products and services. So look, I would urge anybody listening to this to join the BSIA. We help through lobbying, standards, training. We own Skills for Security, for example, with promotion and credibility, not just in the media, but through our exhibition partners and everywhere else.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for that, Simon. Much appreciated. So I'm going to go on to looking at how we tackle challenges, looking at the next 5 to 10 years and the role an association plays in that. So we've talked about where we are, how we got there, how the membership of a robust association can support businesses. But what about the next year, 5 years, 10 years? Technology changes, markets need to adapt, certainly at the moment as well. So resources and recruitment needs always change. So I'll turn to Alan first for our last question. So can you tell us your main concerns and how, as a member of the BSIA, we can help you with them?
Yeah, I've got a few, to be honest with you. And they vary somewhat, as Simon mentioned, with regards training. The industry as such has we have a skills shortage currently, and that is, from the back of COVID-19. Again, that may change. We may find a bigger gap, and that void needing to be filled. So that's where using the BSIA, the Skills for Security, the training that they can provide to our, if we are looking to recruit young people, to bring them into the business. We work quite heavily with investors and young people, as well as the developing young workforce group that we have up in the region here, to make sure that we have that pipeline of young people coming through. We'll need that for the foreseeable anyway, without doubt. The other issues I have are the likes of the one-man bands, you know, the white van man, you know, the airheads that want to feature on Love Island and the likes, where you know, they're buying the products off the shelf, they're buying them off the internet, they're going in and doing a wee cash job. You know, they are not part of the professional security industry, in my opinion, and they need to be discouraged. And that's where the likes of the BSIA can work with the SSAIB, the NSI, and ensuring that these sort of individuals, you know, there is no place per se for them, as I would say. Yeah, everybody needs to make a living, but we can't devalue or dilute what we as an industry have. The other issues I have as well is the BSIA can work very, very closely and very hard with, say, local government, national government, via lobbying them and the insurance sector as well, because fundamentally it's those sectors that, you know, they're key to our future. They really need to be pushing the fact that standards must be met, and again, just the importance of the professional security industry. You know, at the moment, fire, flood prevention or detection, you know, that's up there with the insurers now, whereas the electronic security sector maybe has fallen away somewhat. So it's down to the likes of the BSIA, our trade association, to be going out and promoting the members and ensuring that, you know, fundamentally down the road we're going to be doing okay, we're going to be sound. So that they are my concerns anyway at this current time, Tom.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you, Alan. Much appreciated. I've got another couple of questions that I want to put to the panel, but I just want to remind everybody, if they do have anything that they would like to ask, please send the questions in now, and we'll try and answer them. So, Simon, moving to you. The market is changing rapidly, which opens up many opportunities for businesses, but conversely, it throws up significant challenges too, which may not be able to meet independently. So how can the BSIA help potential members get to grips with such challenges?
Well, I thought that Alan's comment, I think I put it a bit more roughly when I said of keeping the cowboys out and keeping professionalism high. But as Alan said, you know, there is no place for cowboy behavior when you're protecting lives and property or public safety. You just can't compromise. So I think that's one of the best things about being part of a professional trade association. What are the other things? I think sharing information, as I've said before, is very important. Because you're not just getting the benefit of your own business and you're sharing that with other people, you're getting the benefit of your contemporaries, not just in your sector, but in other close sectors. Remember, the BSIA works across 16 sectors, from waste destruction to man guarding. So we have a huge amount of information that's coming our way that we can then disseminate to our members in packaged formats. So I think, and finally, because the BSIA partners with trade bodies and exhibition partners, so Alan mentioned the NSI and the SSAIB, we deal with the FIA, we deal with the SIA for man guarding. You receive a wide range of useful information, and that often surpasses your day-to-day experiences. So this leads to better decisions, more accurate strategies, and a sense of, well, corroboration, I suppose, that your business is on the right track.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Brilliant, thank you. So finally, over to Mike as the Chief Executive. After your first year as the CEO, Mike, how would you frame the future?
Yeah, I think, you know, Alan and Simon made some really valid points there. And as I touched on earlier, is I think we're still going to continue to see significant developments in technology. Is the clients that our members deal with, both from a commercial and domestic perspective, are much more tech savvy and expect be able to access IoT devices, usage of apps, usage of the cloud. And the challenge for the industry is its ability to ensure that these products and systems are fit for purpose. And the only way you can do that is through development of codes of practice and standards that allow the usage of these technologies. I think Simon touched on also the fact that the BSIA have strong relationships with other governing bodies, or the certification bodies of the NSI and the SSIB. And one of the things that we have a specific interest group called the Cybersecurity Product Assurance Group, which created a document called Cybersecurity, which is guidance and advice on how to improve cybersecurity within systems. That's now being developed into a code of practice, which will enable the certification bodies to undertake audits against. And I think Alan touched on it as well, is that there's also the networking opportunities with like-minded professionals operating in your industry sector. So really for me, the bottom line is that, if you're serious about the industry that you operate in and you want to influence its direction and development, then you need to be a member of the BSIA, because we will provide the voice of the professional security industry. We represent our members in multiple different areas and will continue to do so.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, I couldn't have put it any better myself. So to the panelists, thank you very much. There's been some excellent insight into the industry, no doubt some invaluable information that's going to go a long way. So I want to round up the discussion with just a few of the questions which have been sent in during the discussion. So I'd like to ask the panelists. So bear with me one moment. I believe this question's for Mike. So Mike, so the question is, does the BSIA represent its members to government, and can members get involved in that process?
The answer to that is absolutely, is that we have a very strong relationship with the DIT and the DSO, which is the Department of International Trade and the Defence and Security Organisation, is that we're actively engaged with them in developing export strategies. We also sit on the JSAC, which is a Home Office group, which is the Joint Security and Resilience Centre, where we are feeding input into the Home Office. And where, as Simon touched on earlier, is that I personally sit on the SIA Strategic Standards Committee, which the SIA is the licensed body for security guards. And we also have an initiative called PAS, which is the police and private security, where we're working to develop stronger partnerships with the police authorities for professional security companies. So we have very strong connections within government, and I will actually say that through the work of the BSIA recently in lobbying government and support from the SIA that championed that cause, we were able to obtain the clarification of critical and key workers for our members and the industry that are operating in the professional security sector.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. So, Alan, can I just put a question to you? So, as a family business, is there any benefit to being a member of the BSIA?
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. We've been a member, as was mentioned earlier, for 25 years, and we're quite proud of that fact, that we have been. We see and appreciate the value that comes with being a member of, and an active member, sorry, of the BSIA. And that should say something, that should say a great deal about the association, that a third generation company, sees that value in being a member. We're not the largest of organisations by any stretch of the imagination, but we're a professional organisation, and that comes from being a member of the BSIA. There's been plenty members that have come, that have left, and then have returned because they do see the value of being a member of the association. They've come to regret perhaps not being at the top table. and they want to be part of it. They want to be there to influence. And like I said, we're not the biggest of businesses, but we're a professional business. We're a professional company, and we're proud of the fact that through the BSIA, we're active members in molding and shaping what's happening in the industry. And we're welcomed with open arms by everybody and anybody. That was mentioned before, shared practice. There is no, this is who I am and that's who you, everybody works hand in hand together for the benefit of the membership and the industry. So to answer the questions, pure and simple, yes, without shadow of doubt, family businesses should certainly consider getting involved with becoming a member of the BSIA.
Thank you. Much appreciated, Alan. Okay, I've got one last quick question for Simon. Simon, how do we promote the services of our members to the wider audience? So how do you get the message of the work of the industry out to the wider audience?
How do you get the...
So how do we get the message of the work, the industry, work of the industry out to the wider audience?
If you mean how do we tell our membership what we're doing for them, I think we do that very well. It's about our marketing communication strategy. We've had some great, just in the last year, we've had some great successes in promoting the £26 billion industry that is the fire and security industry in the UK. And of course, as I mentioned before, there's other sections, 16 other sections in there. I mean, it is a massive industry. And it's a big industry, but it's sort of best kept secrets. And until you're in it, you don't realize the scale of it. But so I think getting our message to mainstream media, and we've had great success with the BBC and broadsheet newspapers over the past, just the past few weeks, where we're getting that message out there so that not only do end users aspire to become BSIA members, we get installers to aspire to be like that. And I would say to a BSIA, an NSI or an SSAIB security installer, for example, come along, be part of a member. Be a member of the association is not as much money as you think. You can become a member for less than the cost of an iPhone, and depending on your turnover. And I think that, for that, would I want the BSIA logo on my website? Yes, I would. If it was just for that, and it should be for 99 other things, but if it was just for that, I think it's well worth it because it sets you apart from the competition and makes and ensures that you're presented in the most professional manner. So that's how I would communicate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Also, thank you to everyone for your questions. I'm very conscious that I've not asked all of them today. We've had some great responses. I really appreciate it. I'm very conscious of time, so we're not going to be able to ask them all now, but I will make sure that we get back to you with those questions and the answers after the broadcast. Okay, so summing up what our panelists have said today, I'd like to leave you with the following observations, that there's never been a more important time for our industry to be addressing the rapid changes that are occurring, and being at the heart of the security industry through the BSIA means it's better in the long run to be a member, not just an observer. And I look forward to speaking to you about how we can become part of the BSIA together. After today's event, I'll be sending you all of the information out about how you can join, and also an invite to chat with me next week on a one-to-one basis. So I'll be able to have an in-depth discussion about how your company can join the association. So lastly, it's just left for me to say thank you very much for attending today. Thank you everybody for all of their involvement and support to actually put this webinar together. I'm extremely grateful to everybody who's taken part, and I look forward to speaking to you all again soon. Thank you very much and take care.